Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and take a look at the iPhone 6s Plus and compare it against the iPhone 14 Pro Max and see which specific phone you should go and pick up. Now, obviously, the 14 Pro Max is a much better phone, but it's really interesting to see that the 7-year difference between these two devices. This was the flagship of 2015, and this is now the flagship of 2022, and it's so crazy to see what the differences are. So, if you want to pick up some of the phones I would recommend this year, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can definitely tell that there are some differences, but these phones, in terms of the length and width, are kind of similar. With the iPhone 6s Plus that came out in 2015, this phone on the front had a 5.5-inch IPS panel on it, and it was not that bad of a panel. I think it was at that time it was pretty good, but now it is a little bit dated. I think this is even an aftermarket display, and even this one I can barely even tell. This specific panel, it's not bad. You still have a massive display, and it's 1080p, so it's not really that low resolution, but you do have massive bezels on the top and bottom. We still have this home button, but I love Touch ID so much that I can kind of get over the home button thing, but the bezels are the big thing. That's kind of what the big issue is here. But otherwise, this phone still looks pretty decent. It looks like it has such like a just a design that's so familiar. With the 14 Pro Max, we have a much bigger 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED panel. So for this thing being $1,099, and for this thing being the top tier iPhone you can buy, it's crazy to see what the differences are here. Now we do have a 120 Hz panel on this specific phone as well, and we have that dynamic island, which is so nice to have. So those little tiny things I love so much. So definitely you're getting a much better panel and a much better phone on the 14 Pro Max than on the iPhone 6s Plus. Funny enough, I used the 6s Plus for quite a bit of time, and I had a great time with it. Now, in terms of the rest of the body, you can kind of see that the side of these phones are very, very different, but there's also a lot of similarity. You can see that we still have the volume buttons almost in the same spot. The ringers, on-off thing is right there too. But the weird thing is we don't have a SIM card tray on our iPhone 14 Pro Max. I feel like Apple could have done something like that. They ended up not doing it, and that's a very, very weird thing from them. But you can also see how much thinner the iPhone 6s Plus is compared to the 14 Pro Max. But I love how the 14 Pro Max has a thicker, has a bigger battery and everything like that. But also we have this just reflective material, which is so nice on that specific phone. We have the lightning ports on the bottom of both these phones, but we do have a headphone jack on the 6s Plus, which is really nice. And on the back of both these phones, you can kind of see what we're working with as well. So here you can see we have a triple camera setup on the 14 Pro Max, whereas on the 6s Plus we have a single camera setup. And just look at how much bigger that camera is on the 14 Pro Max than on 6s Plus. You could probably fit like 3 or 4 of the 6s Plus cameras inside of one of the 14 Pro Max cameras. I mean, it's crazy how big of a difference that is. Now, we also are rocking a little bit of a different setup as well. So with the 6s Plus, we have this aluminum back with this Apple logo, which looks really good. Familiar design, everyone's kind of seen this before. With the 14 Pro Max, we have this full-on glass back, but it's a frosted glass back. That is one of my favorite things about this phone. So without a doubt, that is a really cool feature of the 14 Pro Max. Now, some other key things: the 14 Pro Max has wireless charging, has a MagSafe capability, has crash detection, emergency SOS satellite mode, 5G, a dual eSIM. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's so many features the 14 Pro Max has over the iPhone 6s Plus and IP certification. The 6s Plus actually, I don't think, had any IP certification, which was very, very interesting. So in terms of the outside, that pretty much covers it up there. Now, moving on to the software and longevity, this is kind of a no-brainer right now. The 6s Plus has just gotten outdated. It's now no longer supported with software. I mean, it's still supported with iOS 15, and it's going to be getting a new version very soon, but it did not get iOS 16, so it is pretty much outdated as of right now, which is very sad. I feel like this phone could have lasted for quite a bit of time. Actually, I take that back. I think iOS 16, ending it there was a decent ending point. So I will say it is what it is, but I will say it's not a bad ending point. So the 14 Pro Max is definitely going to be the one that makes a lot more sense for more people to buy, because it's going to be there for a lot more people. So that covers it up there. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these phones. The iPhone 14 Pro Max has that Apple A16 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 6s Plus has that Apple A9 chip inside of it with 2 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are cleared out here. All the apps are cleared out here. So let us get into it. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Okay, I think that one was quite obvious. Music 3, 2, 1. And the other thing is, I mean, even just clicking this home button, there's such a noticeable delay that if you just come out of an application, it's so much faster on the 14 Pro Max. Now look at in the app like settings, 3, 2, 1. I mean, even on an app like this that's built in, I mean, you can already see some differences as well. Hopping out of here, let's go and get into podcast, 3, 2, 1. Again, iPhone 14 Pro Max is faster. Let's go and get into App Store. 3, 2, 1. There we go. 14 Pro Max, substantially faster than the iPhone 6s Plus. That was a massive difference right there. And even scrolling through, just look at how much smoother and faster it is. I mean, it just takes so long to load on the 6s Plus. I don't know why they're both connected to the same Wi-Fi network, but you can just see for yourself how much faster the iPhone 6s Plus is right there, or how much faster the 14 Pro Max is than the iPhone 6s Plus. Hopping out of here, let's go and open up Mail. 3, 2, 1. Yet again, 14 Pro Max is faster. Let's go into Notes. 3, 2, 1. There we go. I think that one was quite obvious too. Let's go into Camera. 3, 2, 1. And let's go and take a photo. 3, 2, 1. And it was faster on the iPhone 14 Pro Max as well. Actually, that one, I must have not clicked it on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, so there may have been a little bit of a delay. Calendar. 3, 2, 1. About the same thing, not that big of a difference. We do have some other applications. Contacts. 3, 2, 1. Okay, again, this one was faster. Books. 3. I guess I don't even have it here. Health, which I also don't have. That's for 3, 2, 1. Yet again, we can see which one is the faster one there. Files. 3, 2, 1. 14 Pro Max again is a faster one. And we can try Genshin Impact. 3, 2, 1. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take on the 14 or on the 6S Plus, but also one thing, when I opened up the app, it was substantially delayed on the 6S Plus. Not a crazy amount, but it was a little bit of a difference right there too. So, I mean, right there, I mean, you can definitely see the 14 Pro Max is much faster here. I will say, luckily for us, modern games have a lot of graphic profiles we can change now. So even though it takes a long time to load on the 6S Plus, we can, optimize these games to still kind of run at, pretty decent frame rates on the iPhone 6s Plus. So we can see right there, definitely far faster experience on the iPhone 14 Pro Max over the iPhone 6s Plus. But also, I would say and argue that the camera difference might be an even bigger difference than the speed difference. I mean, there is a massive difference in the camera department. With the 6s Plus, we had a 12 megapixel wide angle camera on the back, and it was actually 4K on the back, which is nice, 720p on the front. The 14 Pro Max has a triple camera setup, wide ultra-wide telephoto lens, 4K at 60 on the front and the back of the 14 Pro Max, which is amazing. Now with the iPhone 6s Plus, I honestly don't think this is a bad camera for what it was at that time. I used this phone, at the time when it came out, and I liked it, I think this was a pretty big difference. It's weird it doesn't give you the number of how much you can zoom in and zoom out. That's how, old this phone is. But I think this camera is still, it's not good anymore, but it was a huge impact. We went from a 8 megapixel to 12 megapixel. We got 4K. We got a better front-facing camera too. Like this was a pretty big impactful, change. But you can see we don't have any cool features. We have just like standard video and photo mode and like a solo mode. But otherwise, this camera is fairly outdated when it kind of comes down to it. With the iPhone 14 Pro Max, this is, I think, probably one of the best cameras you can probably buy in this day and age. This is easily one of the best cameras, I think, of this day and age. And this is something that I love about this phone. If you're getting a phone like the 14 Pro Max, this is a beautiful phone. 15x zoom. You're getting that ultra-wide 0.5x zoom here too, but you're also getting video mode with 4K 60 front and back action mode. You're getting cinematic mode as well, which is beautiful. And you're just getting you're getting portrait mode as well. So you were just getting non-stop features on the 14 Pro Max, and this is a beautiful camera for sure. But also, I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer. The 14 Pro Max is a much better phone than the iPhone 6s Plus as well. I mean, this phone is better in every single area. It's a better battery life, better performance, better, just pretty much better everything, just better cameras. You're going to be getting a solid phone from the 14 Pro Max. The 6s Plus lived a good life, but I do think if you currently own a 6s Plus, or if you're currently thinking about buying a 6s Plus, you don't have to go for a 14 Pro Max. You can buy an iPhone 10 and get a substantially better phone than the 6s Plus. But I would say going from a 6s Plus to a 14 Pro Max or a 13 Pro Max is a massive, massive upgrade. So that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.